Hello everyone and welcome. The Walking Dead is back, and in this video I'll be sharing my thoughts on season 11 episode 1. As is the norm with all my reviews, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Season 11's premiere begins in what I would describe as typical Walking Dead season premiere fashion, in that it opens with a big Walker set piece, and in said set piece Maggie and her girl squad descend into this underground bunker where they're searching for food. There's walkers who are asleep on the floor, if walkers need sleep, I don't think so, but anyway, they're lying on the floor, they're not active or not hunting them, they're just laying there, and of course it's only a matter of time before things go wrong and all the walkers wake up and all hell breaks loose. And as set pieces go, I mean, it was okay. I did at times struggle to see what was happening. Then again, I know that's probably my television's fault because it is quite old, but it did seem that things were quite dark. But then I don't know whether that's just a problem with my hardware rather than the way that it was shot and the way it was edited. As set pieces go, I mean, it was okay. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it was enjoyable. It was an okay opening. I liked that it was Daryl's drop of blood falling from the ceiling, which was the reason why all the walkers woke up. I mean, from a visual standpoint, it did look really nice. However, I do kind of think the walkers should have already been awake by that point because the group were making noise, opening doors, and I don't know, I would have thought the walkers would have just smelt them anyway and realised there's human flesh there and got up off the floor. I don't know, it's not a big deal at the end of the day because I know The Walking Dead is quite inconsistent anyway with its rules in regards to walkers, so I can overlook that. One thing I will say about this set piece is that Carol did annoy me, and this is the only time Carol is actually in this episode during the opening, but yeah, I just found it to be irritating again because when the group are escaping with their food and, you know, all the guys are pulling the girls up and getting them out of the bunker, Carol decides to stay back and get even more food, which of course I understand because the group are starving and the more food they can get, the better. But at the same time, I just think that this shows that Carol is kind of still being as hot-headed and as reckless as she was last season, and she's still just running headfirst into danger and just thinking, right, I'm going to do this. I don't care what you guys think, I'm just going to do this. I don't care if it puts me in danger, puts you in danger. I know in this situation she was trying to do the best thing, but I just think, again, it was a bit unnecessary, and I'm still struggling to care for Carol at this moment in time, and I do hope that season 11 redeems her. She wasn't in this episode for very long at all, but she did annoy me in her brief time that she was in it. But yeah, there's not a lot else to say about this opening. I mean, like I said, it was just a standard Walking Dead Walker fight scene, whatever, action sequence. I mean, yeah, it was okay, but you'll be glad to know that I think that the episode, in terms of quality, gets dramatically better after this opening. I think this opening is the weakest part of the episode, and things only get better from this point onwards. Maggie and the rest of the protagonists return to Alexandria after getting the food from the bunker, but it's still not enough. They're still starving. They still need to find more food. So Maggie suggests that they take a trip to Meridian, which is a camp that she was staying at during the time skip when she was away from the show and we didn't see her. I believe she said that Meridian had been taken over by the Reapers because obviously they knew it had food there and resources there, so they took it over. She wants to basically go there and get it back and get supplies. So off they go, and to get there they have to go through this long, scary kind of underground, well, it's like an underground railway tunnel, and they have to go under there to get to Meridian. Unfortunately, this tunnel is full of the undead. Negan tags along with the rest of the protagonists for the ride, and I think that he and Maggie are the real stars of this episode. I mean, prior to this season, I was kind of getting a bit bored with the whole Negan and Maggie conflict because these two have been at each other's throats for, you know, forever now, and they've kind of already hashed it out multiple times already. Maggie already wanted to kill him, and she went to his cell, and then he's, you know, Negan saying, kill me, and then she didn't, and then after that, they still hate each other, and they're still arguing all the time, and yeah, I kind of got a bit sick of it prior to this season, but I think in this season, you know, the scenes where these two are together and they're arguing and talking to one another are the best parts of the episode, and I really liked it. So at first, I kind of felt a bit bad for Negan because Negan seemed to be offering the group sensible advice, but everyone was just ignoring him because, well, he's Negan and secretly everyone still dislikes him. I mean, he made a really good point about the watermarks on the side of the tunnel, which suggests that this tunnel floods, and with there being a storm currently, it probably isn't a good time to be walking in a tunnel that is, you know, vulnerable to flooding. But everyone just says to him, oh, you're not the leader. I think that's something like Daryl said, oh, it's not working, you're not going to be the leader, and they just ignore him. And yeah, okay, Negan's a dick, but I did feel like, hey, hang on, this guy is actually saying good points, but you're all just dismissing them. So at first I kind of sided with Negan. However, as the episode progressed, I actually found myself getting more on board with Maggie's point of view, which is kind of surprising. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising because obviously what Negan has done to Maggie and, you know, killing Glenn and whatever. But at the same time, since Maggie's returned to the show, I mean, and I've said this previously, I've just found her to be quite dull and boring, and I've not really cared for her since she's came back. But in this episode, I was like, you know what, she's actually making a lot of sense, and I can see where she's coming from. And I think that's the good thing about the interactions between these two this episode, is that I could see both their sides of view, and I think that just shows that their dialogue was really well written this episode. As the episode progresses, Negan becomes more and more frustrated, to the point where he just throws his toys out of the pram and has a full-blown tantrum and says, oh, I'm done, I'm going. And then, you know, he starts arguing with Maggie, and he says to Maggie something like, Maggie's head isn't in the game because I'm living in her head rent-free, and that's why she's making all these weird decisions, and she's basically not thinking straight because I'm stuck in her head. It did make me laugh, but it's kind of weird hearing Negan say living in your head rent free, because I don't know, I just kind of assumed that was a phrase that mainly is used in the UK. I know a lot of people who are part of the football community, like fans and players, often say this phrase, so I wasn't aware that people in the US used it as well, but there you go. So Negan believes that Maggie is purposely ignoring his advice and leading the group into danger because she wants to kill him. She wants Negan to die away from Alexandria so no one else will see it, and finally, she'll be rid of him. And even though Gabe remarked that Negan is just being paranoid, at first I did think, you know what, maybe he's right. I wouldn't put it past Maggie killing him and trying to do this just to get revenge. But when Maggie delivered her response, I kind of realised that, actually, hang on, Negan's just being an idiot here. He's just being egocentric as usual, thinking everything's about himself when actually he isn't. Because Maggie says that the reason they're going into this place and the reason they're going so quickly is because they're so desperate for food. It's not about him, it's about everyone else. And we know Negan likes to think everything is about him. So yeah, I appreciated Maggie's response. And Maggie also made a point of saying that the reason she's in charge and the reasons everyone is listening to her is because that's what they voted for. So again, it just goes to disprove, you know, what Negan's saying, and just basically that Negan is just being paranoid and being a bit self-obsessed, as he usually is. And for all Negan's talk about him living in Maggie's head rent-free, well, I actually think it's the other way around, because Maggie is in his head because he's so paranoid that Maggie's going to kill him that it's affecting his judgment and affecting the way he acts. I mean, Negan mentioning Glenn dying like a dog, of course, was uncalled for, and he deserved to be punched in the face by Daryl. But I also kind of think that at this point in time, Negan was just in fight or flight mode. He was so convinced that he was going to die and that she was marching him to his death that he was just going to say anything he could to hurt her. And yeah, he was just on the defensive, you know, when he really shouldn't have been. It sounds like a weird thing to say, considering that he basically mocked Glenn's death in this scene, but I kind of feel like it's his guilt which is causing him to act out like this. It's almost as if he's kind of projecting the way he feels onto Maggie, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't think Negan did this to be an arsehole. I just think that, yeah, he's getting so riled up and he's so scared that he's going to get, you know, his comeuppance and she's going to kill him because he feels so bad about what he's done. And, you know, it's all, and like I said earlier, it's she's in his head all the time. And I think he's so kind of paranoid about that it's causing him to act out. So it sounds weird. I know it sounds weird. I'm not defending his actions, but I don't think he's doing it just to be an arsehole. Anyway, the episode ends in a pretty shocking scene between these two, Maggie and Negan, which I didn't see coming. So whilst they're going through the tunnels, it turns out that, obviously, like I said earlier, there's the undead in there, and there's a big herd, and they're basically all forced to turn around, all the characters, and they have to climb up this train cart. So Negan and Maggie are the last two people to climb up this train cart. Negan goes up first, and then Maggie follows behind him. Then Maggie's there, and she's struggling to hang on by her fingertips, and she says to Negan, help me, you know, help me get up. And there've been many what I would describe as kind of Negan fake out scenes since season 8, in which the scene is set up in a way in which it makes the viewer think that, oh, maybe Negan's going to do something bad, but he actually doesn't. So, I mean, think of example the scene in, I think the start of season 10, where Aaron is blinded by the hogweed, and he's there in the house, and he's sort of on the floor, scrambling on the floor, and then Negan walks in, and the camera is positioned in a way that's behind Negan, and he's there with his crowbar, and he's sort of standing menacingly over Aaron. And I mean, this scene was even showed in the season 10 trailer, and it's obvious as to why, because people saw this scene in the trailer and they thought, oh my god, Negan's gonna kill Aaron, is Negan evil again? And the show likes to play on this notion that, oh, is Negan gonna be evil again? Is Negan gonna be horrible? But then he actually doesn't do anything. He actually just does the right thing. So in this instance, he just helped Aaron and didn't actually do anything with the crowbar. So I don't really know why the scene was set that way. Well, I know what it was, to basically make people think that he's going to do something bad, but it was kind of obvious that he wasn't. There's another scene in season 10 also when Negan is declared the new alpha by some of the Whisperers, and again this scene is set up in a way that Negan gets the shotgun and Daryl's on his knees and he's kind of taunting Daryl, and again it's one of those scenes where some people will go, oh my god, is Negan going to kill Daryl and going to be the new leader of the Whisperers? And of course he doesn't. It's another fake out, because then he kills the Whisperers and helps Daryl, because the show's been setting Negan on this path of redemption since the end of season 8. And like I said, I you know, in these two situations I knew Negan wasn't going to do anything bad, because the show doesn't want to seem to be going down that route with him and having him be a villain again. So in this scene where Maggie is there and she's begging Negan to pull him up, I just thought, oh, of course Negan's going to save her. Negan's going to pull her up, because that again will further solidify Negan is actually this good guy, and you know, he's trying to do the right thing. But in this scene he doesn't. He just walks away and leaves Maggie to fall. And I mean, Maggie doesn't die because we don't see her die, and there's actually like a gap near the train cart which Daryl went through previously with his dog, so I'm guessing she's just going to go through that. I mean, there's no way in hell I think Maggie's going to die. They're not going to leave Herschel Jr., sorry, you know, as an orphan, and not going to have Negan kill both his parents, because then fucking hell there'd be no way back for Negan, would there? But yeah, I mean, it was still quite a shocking scene, because like I said, I just expected Negan to pull her up, but he hesitates, he just stares at her and he just walks off, and I was like, wow, I did not expect that. And it's exciting because this is uncharted territory for Negan, because in the comics, if I remember correctly, Negan is gone at this point in the comics. I think after the Savior War, after the Whisperer arc, sorry, he just leaves. He doesn't stay at Alexandria like he did at the end of season 10. He just takes off, and we don't see him again. So I don't know where they're going to go with Negan, but it's exciting. I like it. There's no denying what Negan did to Maggie was horrific, and yeah, just a really shitty thing to do. But again, I know some people are going to say that I'm defending Negan too much in this review, but I don't think he did it because he's evil. I don't think Negan did it because he's going to go back to being this, you know, mustache-twirling villain that he was in season 7 and 8 and going to be talking to Lucille again. I don't think he did it because, oh, Negan's evil. I think it's more complicated than that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if Negan were truly evil, I mean, he would have done it to anyone, right? But if this were Gabe or Daryl in the same situation as Maggie, I know, 100% I'm certain he would have pulled them up, because he kind of respects them. They've been nice to him. They like him. He's not scared of them. But with Maggie, he just saw the situation to basically take her out of the picture, because he's so paranoid, that she's going to kill him, that he was just like, right, I'm just going to do it because I think this is necessary, because I'm so terrified of her killing me. So yeah, I don't think he did it because he's like, haha, Maggie, screw you. You're gonna die, and I'm gonna leave your kid an orphan. I don't think he's, that kind of evil. Like I said, it's still a horrible thing to do, but I just think the situation is more complex than, oh, Negan's a bad guy again, because yeah, I don't think that's the case. Negan is all about self-preservation. We saw that at the end of season 10 when he didn't want to walk amongst the walkers when the Whisperer herd was there, because he was like, no, I don't want to do it because someone will kill me. And yeah, he's kind of paranoid, that since the end of the war, that someone's out to get him and that someone is going to kill him, which is understandable given the shit that he's done. So this isn't the same Negan that we saw in the prison in season 9. Yeah, it's not the same Negan that we saw then, who was crying on the floor saying, oh, please kill me, kill me. This Negan wants to live, and for him to live, he thinks that Maggie needs to be out of the picture because he's so paranoid that she's going to kill him. Anyway, like I said, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to defend Negan. I'm not saying that, oh, he was right to do this, because he absolutely wasn't. But yeah, like I said, I think it's more complicated than some people are making out to be, because like I said, I think some people are just going to go, oh, Negan's going to be the baddie again in this season, and I don't think that's the case. But yeah, I just think it's more complex, and I really liked it. Like I said, it was not an ending that I was expecting at all, and I'm excited to see where this goes and how he's going to play this off, because like I said, Maggie is alive. I'm confident she's going to be alive, and yeah, it's not going to go well for him when she comes back and says, oh, he tried to kill me. Anyway, moving away from Maggie and Negan, we also caught up with Eugene and Co at the Commonwealth, which was a really pleasant surprise, because I was kind of expecting this episode just to be focused on Negan and Maggie and, that group there. And it's a pleasant surprise to actually have two storylines going on at once in an episode, especially when we've come from 10C, which were all bottle episodes with only a couple of characters in each one. Despite the subject matter at the Commonwealth being quite serious, the scenes there were definitely a lot more light-hearted than the stuff with Negan and Maggie. And I mean, it is a bit weird to see this serious stuff alongside, you know, scenes of Eugene joking about his zip code and, you know, stuff like that. But I think the juxtaposition worked. I think this episode did need these lighter moments, you know, these bits of humor alongside the more serious aspect of the Maggie and Negan conflict, and I think it worked. You know, I think the humor landed. You know, in the past I've been quite critical of The Walking Dead's attempts at humor. They don't always land with me, but I think the jokes were good in this segment. I did laugh out loud a couple of times, like I said, you know, with the Eugene and his zip codes. I mean, the way they kind of cut the scene worked really well, because just before Eugene talks about the zip codes, Yumiko is asked, like, what's your last zip code? And Yumiko says, oh, how the hell am I supposed to remember that? And this is all during the Commonwealth questioning, and yeah, Yumiko's like, how am I supposed to be expected to remember my zip code? And then it cuts to Eugene, and he's basically saying, oh, in 1980 I had this zip code, and in 1985 I have this, and remembering every single one. And it was funny the way they cut the scenes together. Also, Princess made me laugh a couple of times, you know, with her remarks about Commonwealth soldiers and the things she was picking up upon. And as you'll know, I'm not really a Princess fan. I find her to be quite irritating, but she was actually quite likable, I felt, this episode. I felt, yeah, that she did a much better job than she has done in the last couple of episodes of making me like her, basically. We also got our first look at Mercer, and as a comic book reader, I have to say he looks fantastic. He looks exactly like he does in comic with his uniform, and even the dude who plays him is like a spitting image of the dude in the comic. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of his character. It also appears as if Yumiko will be getting Michonne's comic book story arc, because in the comics, Michonne's sister is at the Commonwealth and she stays behind there and meets her sister. And in the TV show, we see a message from Yumiko's sister on this like board of Commonwealth survivors or whatever it is, or entrances to Commonwealth people who are there. It's a message saying, yeah, Yumiko, find me. I can't remember. It's something like that. Anyway, yeah, Yumiko says, oh, we have to stay. And, you know, at this point in time, the group are trying to escape, and she sees this message from her sister, and she's like, oh, we need to stay. And yeah, I don't have an issue with them swapping the Michonne sister for Yumiko's sister, because Michonne isn't in the show at this point. So it'd be a bit weird if the characters arrived at Commonwealth and then this character turns up and she's like, hey, I'm Michonne's sister. And it'd be like, oh, nice to meet you. Michonne's not here. So I understand why they swapped it around. And also, Michonne's past as a lawyer plays a big part in the Commonwealth arc, and Yumiko is also a lawyer. So it just looks like a straight swap, and to me it makes sense. So overall, I just thought this was a tightly written, solid episode. I mean, it wasn't as explosive as some of the past season premieres. I mean, normally in The Walking Dead, season premieres are big action sequences, you know, not just the opening, the whole thing is a lot of action. I mean, think of No Sanctuary in season 5, or the episode in season 3, that premiere where the group overtook the prison. Normally the episodes are big action events, but this wasn't. But I like that. I don't think every season premiere has to just be over the top action constantly. You know, I thought this was a really good start to the season. I thought the writing was solid. I think this is actually Maggie's best performance on the show in a long time, probably since she came back, because yeah, I've just found her to be so dull since she returned. But I thought she was really good this episode. I liked her dialogue. I was like, you know what, she's right, 100%. I agree with what she's saying. I'm on board with her. I like her. So I like her again. So yeah, I thought that was good. I thought the Negan stuff was really good, unexpected. The Commonwealth stuff, you know, a bit more lighthearted, but I think it worked. And yeah, it was a massive improvement on some of the terrible episodes in 10C, like the bloody Carol, and the rat episode. I mean, my God, it was so much better than that. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. I mean, there's very little for me to complain about. Like I said, I thought the beginning was a bit average, you know, just, oh, it's another scene of them fighting walkers. Wasn't really anything special, but it's not really anything that I disliked about it, apart from finding the beginning to be a bit average. So yeah, very good start to season 11. So let me know your thoughts below. Did you like this episode as well? Have you seen it yet? Because I know I saw it early on the AMC app. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, did you enjoy this video? One more thing, there's a moment in the sewer where they find like a bunny rabbit, like a fluffy toy on one of the walkers. Excuse me, I don't know, was that a callback to the first episode where the little girl has a toy when Rick shoots her? Does she have like a bunny toy? I don't know, I just noticed that and thought maybe this seems like an Easter egg or something, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts below, and yeah, I'll see you all very soon for the next review. So take care, goodbye.